Solstice marks the extreme points of the sun's path in the sky, resulting in the longest and shortest days of the year. Equinox marks the point when the sun crosses the celestial equator, resulting in equal or very nearly equal day and night hours. The detailed explanation. To understand the difference fully, let's consider these key aspects. Earth's tilt and orbit. Axial tilt. The Earth is tilted on its axis at approximately 23.5 degrees relative to its orbital plane, the plane of Earth's orbit around the Sun. This tilt is the fundamental reason we experience seasons. Orbit. Earth orbits the Sun in an elliptical, oval path. While the distance between the Earth and the Sun does vary slightly throughout the year, it's not the primary cause of the seasons. The tilt is solstices. Definition. A solstice occurs when the sun reaches its highest or lowest point in the sky relative to the celestial equator. The celestial equator is an imaginary line projected onto the sky from the Earth's equator. Types of solstices. Summer solstice, around June 20th and 21st in the Northern Hemisphere. The Northern Hemisphere is tilted most directly towards the sun. This results in the longest day of the year in the Northern Hemisphere, the sun reaching its highest point in the sky at noon. The start of astronomical summer in the Northern Hemisphere, the shortest day of the year in the Southern Hemisphere. The start of astronomical winter in the Southern Hemisphere. Winter solstice, around December 21st and 22nd in the Northern Hemisphere. The Northern Hemisphere is tilted most away from the sun. This results in the shortest day of the year in the Northern Hemisphere, the sun reaching its lowest point in the sky at noon. The start of astronomical winter in the Northern Hemisphere, the longest day of the year in the Southern Hemisphere. The start of astronomical summer in the Southern Hemisphere. Key characteristics of solstices. Unequal day and night lengths. Sun's path is at its most extreme point, highest or lowest in the sky. Mark the transition between seasons, winter to spring and summer to fall, although they are often considered the peak of those seasons. Equinoxes. Definition. An equinox occurs when the sun crosses the celestial equator. This means that the Earth's axis is tilted neither towards nor away from the sun. The sun's rays strike the Earth perpendicularly at the equator. Types of equinoxes. Vernal equinox, spring equinox, around March 20th and 21st in the Northern Hemisphere. The sun crosses the celestial equator moving from south to north. Marks the start of astronomical spring in the Northern Hemisphere. Marks the start of astronomical autumn in the Southern Hemisphere. Autumnal equinox, fall equinox, around September 22nd and 23rd in the Northern Hemisphere. The sun crosses the celestial equator moving from north to south. Marks the start of astronomical autumn in the Northern Hemisphere. Marks the start of astronomical spring in the Southern Hemisphere. Key characteristics of equinoxes. Nearly equal day and night lengths, approximately 12 hours each. The term equinox comes from the Latin equus, equal, and nox, night. Note that it's not perfectly equal due to atmospheric refraction, bending, of sunlight, and the fact that sunrise and sunset are defined as when the top edge of the sun appears or disappears over the horizon. Because of this, the days are slightly longer than the nights at the equinoxes. The sun rises due east and sets due west. Mark the transition between seasons, winter to spring and summer to fall. Think of it this way. Solstices are like the peaks of a mountain range. They represent the extreme points in the seasonal cycle. Equinoxes are like the valleys between the peaks. They represent the balance or transition points. In short, solstices and equinoxes are determined by the Earth's orbit around the sun and its axial tilt. They mark key points in the Earth's seasonal cycle, bringing us the changing lengths of days and nights throughout the year.